both security group and the NACL, they both provide a layered defense, or I would say they are all security related services at various layer. Access control list, NACL. So these two services are for layered network security defense. So it protects your services. So security group, okay, let's do this way. We will try and have a comparison table. Security groups, and then network access control list. So security group, it is used at the instance level. So we can call it as instance level firewall. So for each and every virtual machine, or each and every load balancer or RDS, we can use this firewall at each of your virtual machine instance level. So network access control list, it's a subnet level firewall. And you also have this particular traffic can control all inbound and outbound connection. So when you create the security group, or when you create this network access control list, there are two options. So it can control both inbound traffic, as well as it can support outbound traffic. By default, all outbound traffic is allowed to all the port numbers, to all the destination, to the internet. This is the default entry. So all traffic is allowed for all the protocols, all the port numbers by default. So outbound, it is wide open. So if you want to reserve, if you want to protect it, you can change it. Open by default, open to internet. So outbound traffic can reach internet without any restrictions. So network access control list, you can use it as an additional layer of defense. So it's not mandatory, it's a optional layer of defense. Many organization does not use that. But if in case you want to protect in multiple layers, you can do it. At the end, it is going to add little more latency for your workload. That is the reason some customers does not want to have too many number of layered protection. But if your traffic is coming from public cloud or internet facing, then yeah, it is going to be pretty much useful. Okay, so the way that these two firewall works, like if you go and check the security group, when you go and create a new rule, you can see that it does not give you option to go and deny a particular traffic. If you go and add something, that is, it is going to allow that traffic. It doesn't, there is no option to go and deny a particular traffic. So it allows the traffic whatever is explicitly defined. Whereas here in network access control list, allow and deny option is there. Okay, let me show you that also quickly here. So network access control list, it is created at the VPC level, not in your EC2 instance level. EC2 instance is only for security group is applicable for that. So here, if you go and create a rule, you have option to allow and deny. So if you want to allow a particular rule or a particular thing, you can allow, or you can also deny it. But allow is the only option that you get in security group. So you can also define allow and deny both in network access control list. So this is called as a stateful firewall. So stateful
If I
firewall. Mhm. Yeah, go ahead.
if I not if I not allow, is that a deny?
Yeah, default is deny. Yes, if you're not explicitly calling out a rule inbound, it is a
Okay.
default deny.
Hmm.
Yes.
Deny. Okay.
Yeah. So it is a stateful firewall. Stateful firewall means, for example, let's say I'm trying to access some server, this server from the internet from my home. So I'm accessing it using port 22, right? And by default, this 22 is allowed. In security group, what it will happen is, irrespective of the backward number. So let's say in my system here, if I go and say, okay, so what is this? Let's say net stat. Okay, you can see that the connection has been established on port number 22 from my system, or in this case, let's see where it is. So 22 is the incoming port number SSH, and the reverse port number is 43409. So I have not explicitly called out anything on, listed this particular port number. So the traffic will complete the end-to-end written traffic as well as the forwarded traffic will complete in the stateful firewall. So the security group will take the ownership of both incoming and the written answer also for that particular request. So it is like, sorry, one second. Just a second. My mobile has automatically picked up the AI. Okay, sorry. So yeah, say stateful firewall, written traffic is automatically taken care here. So the stateless firewall, you have to explicitly call out, you have to explicitly mention, both inbound and outbound traffic in stateless firewall. So NACL is a stateless firewall. You have to explicitly call out them. The ordering, I mean, the evaluation, right? So when you write multiple rules, so if you have conflicting rules, so the lowest number will take highest precedence. So there are some numbers in the rule here. So if I just go and create some rule, it will say 100, 101, 102 and something. So if you have conflicting rules, the lower number will take higher precedence. Lower number takes higher precedence. Whereas in security group, precedence. Okay, so in security group, all the rules will be evaluated before making a decision, because there is no numbering there. It's like we have multiple rules added, so it will go and evaluate all the rules before deciding whether I have to allow the traffic or deny the traffic. But here in NACL, the lowest number will have the highest priority. If the rule matches, the evaluation will stop there and it will allow the traffic. Okay, the lowest number will get the highest priority, and this security group, it is applicable, it can be assigned to each and every EC2 instances. So you can have up to multiple mappings can be there. For example, in your EC2 instance, let's say I have got a EC2 instance, and each EC2 instance can have up to 5 security groups added. Okay, that is another interesting factor. So currently I've got one security group that is already there, right? The security group is already there for this particular EC2 instance. I can go and attach more number of security group. I can have up to 5 security groups attached to that particular same instance. So I can just go here and then I can add additional security group. So if I want to add one more, I can just add additional security group. This way I can go and add up to 5 security group per instance. 5 SG per instance is supported, whereas here one NACL per subnet, it is one-to-one mapping only. Okay, so you cannot have multiple mappings. So here when you go and do the troubleshooting, when you have multiple security groups, the troubleshooting gets complicated. So try to avoid too much of complications, right? Try to minimize the number of rules, number of security groups you have, so that way the troubleshooting gets easier. So there are some numbers like you can have up to 50 rules per security groups. So that is the reason sometimes you might have to create more security groups to allow more rules and stuff, but it is very rare scenario. But here also there is a limitation up to 20 rules, I guess. To 20 rules, you can go and check the quota in that particular same site, inbuilt option that I've shown you. Here you can go and check the default quota, right? The rules per network ACL 20 only, right? So similarly, rules you can check on the security group. I think it is around 50, I guess. Yeah, not route rules. Okay, rules up to rules per NACL. So you can create up to 20 rules, and sometimes you might have to go and create more number of security groups if you are going beyond the 50 rules limit. and there it is a soft limit. Sometimes you can able to go and do it. So as Sridhar asks, all the traffic are denied by default. So all traffic are denied.
Especially for inbound, right?
Yeah, true. And even for
Yeah.
outbound also, let's
Outbound. Okay.
say for the network access control list, right? If you go and check the
Mm.
NACL, the outbound
Mm.
is by default allowed, I mean denied. All the traffic is also
Mean.
denied here, and you also have a rule which have a conflicting thing. So you can go and
Mm.
explicitly allow if in case you need it. All traffic
Mm.
or denied. You're right, actually, inbound by default, and you have to go and explicitly call out what port, what protocols, which IP range the incoming traffic you have to allow.
Is there anything that you gonna speak about Palo Alto?
We can discuss. See, where if you want to have some
Oh,
understanding, yeah, we can definitely discuss where
no, no, no.
exactly.
I just want to know
Mhm,
how can I integrate my
mhm,
um,
mhm,
current network, where I need a Palo Alto to be a firewall also to be managed or something.
mhm. True, true. So we can discuss that. See,
Yeah.
at the VPC currently, let's say
Hmm.
I've got a VPC, and I've got an instance, and the very first level of protection is security group, and
Sure, no,
an
no.
optional.
You
Yeah,
can take that offline. I mean
true.
later also,
Mm.
but nothing urgent. I just want to know that actually. That's all. I
I'll
don't want to
explain.
disturb others. Yeah.
Understood, understood. I'll continue with my flow, and then maybe later when we
Sure,
touch that
sure.
particular
Yeah.
relevant topic, we will see. Yeah. So here,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah. So all traffic, as I said, that's here. So there are only allow rules. The permit rules only applicable here. So this is like only permit. So here we also have the deny conditions. So all rules. Okay. So instance level we have already mentioned. So you have a lot of port number differences in security group. You can have the specified well-known ports up to the 0 to 1023, and then 1024 to 49,000. So these are all some well-known ports and privileged ports and registered ports that can be used while you are entering the rules. You have multiple different port numbers, right? I think many of you know that, but anyway, so there are some ports called well-known ports or privileged ports. It is already assigned to some specific services like HTTP or SSH. So those numbers will be from 0 to 1023, right? These are the privileged or well-known ports, and there are some customers who will go and register some ports for their application. This is called as registered ports. So the global the ICANN team, the Internet um, organization for numbers, names and numbers. There is an organization called IANA for numbers as well as for the names. So they are the ones who are assigning these numbers and names for each an organization. If you want to have a domain name, or if you want to have a specific port for your application, or some specific reservation, then you go and get it reserved from them. So these are the registered port numbers, and the remaining whatever 49,000 to 65,000, those are all dynamic ports or private ports which are used for written traffic, right? Dynamic or okay, I think, yeah, we can call it as private ports also. This is mainly for the written traffic from 49K to 65K, 49,000 to I mean, I'm not exactly writing the number, but yeah, the exact numbers are 49,152 maybe. Yeah, why I have to just make it 49,152 to 65,535. Yeah. So these are the dynamic ports that generally we use it. So there are certain services which uses a specific return traffic number. You can get it from the internet. For example, if I'm trying to connect on SSH inward, the return traffic, it can be on any numbers from 60,000 to 61,000. So that is the standard numbers that we can see in different cases. And in some cases, okay, you can also see it is using 40,000 range. So it depends on case to case. Some port numbers have a written traffic specific numbers, SSH response or HTTP response, it might use a specific number. At a very high level, I think I've covered. So generally the security groups, right, even though it is instance level, we can attach it, to a network interface, or we can attach it to a load balancer, we can attach it to multiple other cases, but it is at the network interface level. Even though we call it as instance level, it is at the network interface level. I think pretty much we have covered all the top points here. Yeah. So yeah, control all inbound. Yeah, as we said earlier, we have separate rules for inbound and outbound. Separate rules are available to be created for inbound and outbound. Some people use the terminology called ingress egress, right? Ingress means inbound, egress means outbound. So that is what kind of
Yeah,
alternate. Yeah,
generally the people call it when they do the billing,
correct.
ingress
Ingress
charge.
traffic, egress traffic. True, true. Yeah.
Uh,
So you have to be familiar with that terminology. So for now, we have discussed the very first basic of networking, right? We have touched upon this, and as I said, if you want to have a deep dive understanding on subnets and stuff, yeah, go and click on the playlist that I've shared with you guys. Okay, the AWS Solutions Architect playlist. You will see a detailed video on how to do a subnetting on your own and then start assigning it. It will give you a very in-depth understanding. So for now, we have discussed the very first topic alone. On Wednesday's session, we will continue to discuss Elastic IP. We have already touched upon during EC2 itself. So we will go and touch upon the other topics when we come back on Wednesday. Any questions on what we have discussed so far today?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. So I will stop the recording as we discussed.